Malaysian Prime Minister Najib Razak is in a meeting with Pope Benedict XVI at the Pontiff's summer residence in Castel Gandolf. Mr. Najib arrived with his delegation in Rome this morning for a two-day working visit. But the highlight is his meeting with the Pope, with both sides eyeing the establishment of diplomatic ties between the two states. Malaysia is among a few countries that still don't have diplomatic ties with the Holy See. The Malaysian Prime Minister will also be discussing interfaith issues and ways to counter extremism with the Pope. And we're joined by Seema Gupta, Channel News Asia's correspondent in Rome, and she'll be telling us more about the meeting at this summer palace. Now, Seema, what is the latest news out from this meeting? Do you have any?
Well, Glenda, what we know so far is that Pope Benedict XVI is scheduled to meet the Malaysian Prime Minister. He was scheduled to meet him at about 11 a.m. local time. He will also be meeting the Vatican Secretary of State, that's Cardinal Tarcisio Bertone. This meeting that's happening at his summer residence, this is where the Pope goes to during his summer break of sorts. And this meeting is the one political meeting that he has lined up while he is there. It is expected that the Pope and the Malaysian Prime Minister will be discussing, as you said, the possibility of establishing diplomatic ties between the Vatican and Malaysia.
Seema, do we know what else they'll be talking about besides just establishing diplomatic ties?
Well, really, that will be the focus of the discussion, because this is not also the first time that a Malaysian Prime Minister will be meeting a Pope. It was back in 2002 that the then Prime Minister, Mahathir Mohamad, met with the then Pope John Paul II at the Vatican in order to discuss Christian and Muslim ties. But this time, really, all eyes will be focused on the possibility of diplomatic ties between Malaysia and the Vatican State. Other Muslim majority countries such as Pakistan, as well as neighboring Indonesia, which is the most populous Muslim country in the world, they already have ties with the Vatican. And so Malaysia really is in a group of only 16 countries that do not have these ties. It has been reported that the Vatican has been working for a long time to establish these official ties between the Vatican State and Malaysia, and that it is part of an ongoing process. So we'll have to see what really comes out of this meeting between the Malaysian Prime Minister Najib Razak and Pope Benedict XVI.
All right, many thanks there, Seema Gupta, speaking to us live from Rome. Well, Mr. Najib's visit to the Vatican was planned before street protests rocked the Malaysian capital 2 weekends ago, and it comes at a time of increased political sensitivity in the country. Channel News Asia's Melissa Goh with the view from Kuala Lumpur.
Well, essentially, the scheduled meeting with Pope Benedict XVI is to establish diplomatic relations with the Vatican. Malaysia is among 16 countries in the world that has no diplomatic ties with the Roman Catholic Church. Even Muslim countries like Indonesia, Iran, Iraq and Pakistan have existing diplomatic ties with the Vatican. But this is not the first meeting between a Malaysian Prime Minister and the head of the Roman Catholic Church. In 2002, former Malaysian Prime Minister Mahathir Mohamad met Pope John Paul II in the aftermath of the September 11th terror attacks in the US to talk about Muslim and Christian relations. Now, Malaysia is seen as the voice of moderate Islam. Now, Prime Minister Najib will want to build on that to further strengthen interfaith relations that remains a challenge both abroad and back home.
PM has always been championing to be, the cause of moderate Islam. This has definitely will raise the status of Malaysia in the world, that we are moderate and we will engage with everybody.
Now, Mr. Najib's administration also hopes that the meeting with the Pope will help send a clear signal that the government cares about Christians that form about 10% of the country's population, and help repair strained relations with the Christian community, especially after a series of incidents in the past year, including firebombing of churches. Now, the attacks on places of worship were sparked by the High Court's decision allowing a Catholic weekly, the Herald, to use the word Allah to describe God in the Malay edition. Now, there was also unhappiness among the Christian community over the government's move in limiting the import of Malay version of Bibles, which the authorities worry may confuse the majority Muslim community in the country into converting.
I don't think one visit will just, create kind of impact, see? But the very fact that it shows that the Prime Minister is willing to recognize and engage with a Christian leader, and even to go to the extent to have diplomatic ties. I mean, it's a positive step.
But I don't think a visit like that would be enough to actually say, okay, you know, I'm doing something about it. People really do want to see concrete action, and really show that, you know, you really mean what you say.
So many Christians are still waiting for a definitive answer from the Court of Appeal that the word Allah is not the exclusive use of the Muslim community. Now, the meeting with the Pope was scheduled some time ago, before the unrest that hit the Malaysian capital 2 weekends ago. Melissa Go, Channel News Asia, Kuala Lumpur.